That's right. We have a flagrant foul. And don't be surprised what the flagrant fouls are going to be on. Don't be surprised. But I'm not the one that's going to start this off. That would be one, Mr. Cole Johnson. But here we go. Those of you who've been living on the rock. NBA banned Raptors, Jontay Porter for gambling violation. And for those of you who don't know, and Cole, I did this specifically just for you, sir. Here's what they did. Disclosed confidential information to bettors. Limited his participation in NBA games, meaning he took his own self out. Betted on his own team games, which that within itself is stupid. And then he betted on games while he was down in the developmental league, which is known as the G League. So yeah, so that's what we gonna do. I'm gonna drop me and Mr. Cool McCain down, and I'm gonna let Cole Johnson have this one.
Jontay Porter, young man, you got a problem. I think we're just gonna come straight out and say you got a problem, sir. Now, am I saying this sitting on a high horse or sitting in an ivory tower? No. No, I am flawed and human just as the others are and just as you are. However, you decided to think with your butt instead of your brain and operating like this. The audacity that you had in betting for your team to lose. It's one thing to bet on your team, like what Pete Rose did 30, 35, 40 years ago, where he did bet on his team, but he bet on them to win. That's bad enough. You bet for your team to take L's. I mean, were you that hard of a cash, son? I mean, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And the funny thing is, we're just on the heels of Shohei Ohtani having to deal with the scandal of gambling his doggone self. And if it wasn't for his interpreter, Izzy Misahara, taking the hit and fall for him, we'll be talking about him being the face of this is what it looks like when it's a player in professional sports who gambles. Well, I just said to you, sir, Misahara took the hit for him. No one took the hit for you. And now you will now be the face of this is what you should not do when you play in the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, or the NHL, or the WNBA even. You don't bet on your sport. Doubles betting, you don't bet for your team on which you play to lose. I'll get back to you in a moment, Mr. Porter, but I'm now going to address this portion of Flagrant Foul to the Shield, the Association, and all the other leagues that think it is cool to brag about the fact that you want to dip your toe, your hand, your brain, and your magic stick in the pool of money that your league can respectively gain. There was a reason why you all decided to avoid Las Vegas for the longest time, that you didn't want to even have the scent, the scintilla of thought that your sport could be stained with betting. You didn't want to have that stench on your league. Every one of you were in lockstep agreement of it. And then when it was decided, well, hey, the NHL, they decided to have a major league team in Las Vegas. Okay, why not? Go to Knights, do your thing. And the first year they exist, they get to the Stanley Cup Finals, and then they win it years later. And now you have the Raiders, who, I will say this with all honesty, bowl cut. Your move was to Los Angeles if you was going to move at all, not to Las Vegas. But I get it. I get it. For the first time in the history of your team, the history of your organization, you had a body, you had a governing body that said, you know what, we will build a stadium specifically for the Raiders. So I get it. I get it. Your organization's been in existence for 64 years. I get it. And then the time you moved in, it was 61, and you got embraced. I get it. I get it. But Las Vegas was not the move for you. However, what you did was you actually made it cool for the rest of professional sports to say, yeah, let's go to Las Vegas. To the point where this past Super Bowl was hosted. Where? In Las Vegas. So now you have an NHL team. You have an NFL team. And coming next year, we'll have the Las Vegas A's. That's right. Major League Baseball's coming to Las Vegas. And you all are just trumpeting all of this. And it's like, people are making it rain in our clubs. Like hungry magic stick idiots to hoes. This is what is messing you all up. All of the places in the NFL that you have had to slap the wrist of, Calvin Ridley being the biggest name amongst all of them, and now Jontay Porter in the NBA, and now Shohei Ohtani in the MLB, this is what's going to result, because you're going to have these players say, well, you're promoting sports betting. You're promoting it. You have it as signs in the stadiums now. Forget the commercials. You have no signs in the stadiums. What should we do? I mean, hey, we're young, impressionable men and women, but we're young and impressionable. I mean, we don't need to be around that type of stuff, but you fan the flames for it. So, when I mention these harsh words to one Mr. Jontay Porter, understand the association in this case, because I'll do it squarely on the NBA. I'm talking directly to you, one Mr. Adam Silver. Yes, it was great. Oh, yes, and you're definitely not on this fray. It was great because you're in this too. You actually held the putrid in-season tournament semifinal and final in Las Vegas. And I'm sure you're going to hold it again there probably every year now. And now in the WNBA, you have a team that is, we talked about earlier, they are the two-time defending WNBA world champs in the Aces. That came from San Antonio to there. Now, gambling helps the league. I'm not naive. I know it does. However, it hurts your employees. And I'm not just talking about the front-facing ones, the ones you see on the court. No. I'm also talking about the front office personnel and the coaching staff and all of those. I'm talking about them too. It hurts your employees. And are we going to see something else result from this? I'm sure. But I know this could not have come at a worse time for his older brother, Michael Jr., who I make Cool McCain smile with this because he's a Nuggets fan. The older brother now has to concern himself with helping his team to get another ring, since they're the defending NBA champs. But now he personally has to deal with his younger brother, who decided to hit that number. Say, man, did that number hit? Yeah. Break out that bread, man. Break out that bread. Yeah, you know what counted? And yeah, I'm gonna take that. Hit some more. On the next game. Yeah, yeah. My team Raptors? Oh, they're going to take a big time L. Oh, yeah, they're going to take a big time. You know how ridiculous that sounds and how silly that looks? That's you, Mr. Porter. That's you. And that's what you got to face now. You have to face this. And you have to understand that you have to protect not just yourself, but the league. Especially when I know they say to you, quote, you are not allowed to bet on the game. Close quote. So now you have learned the big time, valuable, hardcore, punched in the jaw lesson that all of us learn when we're in our 20s. That you are not bigger than the organization you work for. You either have to do what the organization wants you to do, and I'm not just talking about the Raptors, I'm talking about the NBA. You got to do what they want you to do, or if you're going to bet, do so not as a representative of the National Basketball Association, because you know what that's going to now do? It's not going to make everybody look at all the other players and say, oh my gosh, you all are gambling degenerates just like this guy Jontay. That's not what you want, son. Well, unfortunately, that is what you have. And the NBA now has said, we're not gonna give you some time to cool off. We're not going to do like what Calvin Ridley got done by the NFL and say, okay, well, we'll give you a full year off. We'll even take another part of another year, and then we'll revisit this after that full year suspension is over. No, that's like you are disallowed from being in any part of the National Basketball Association. You can't even be considered a player, a coach, an executive. You can't even be a towel boy on the court. You got to take this L, and you got to walk that L away from these arenas for the rest of your life. Hopefully that is not going to be the case. But lifetime ban pretty much means you ain't allowed, man. And you could have done something about it. However, hopefully you can learn from this and you learn to do with your money the right thing with it instead of the wrong thing. Unfortunately, you got your hand caught in the cookie jar. Oh boy. And now you, sir, are considered a gambling degenerate.